recorded a reaction to this, but there was an echo, so I had to record it again. But yeah, this one's RuneScape Guild was a death trap, basically, back in the day, because a few reasons. So we're gonna check out the video. This one's by RuneScape Historian, link in the description.
40 ranged and a brisk walk to Heminster. That's all that's needed to enter the ranging guild. This rather innocuous guild is now seen as a piece of dead content for the most part by many, with some early players even stating that it's always been fairly dead, even upon its 2004 release. Right.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. This ain't no pest control. Like, there's no big rewards you can get here. Just tickets, bro. Like,
Fully so, as outside of tick manipulation involving the target practice minigame, there's not much of note at the guild. I suppose early game Iron Men can grab some rune throne axes here to use in order to get to Dag Kings, and players that reach 90.
Rune throne axes are dead content though, for sure. Nobody really uses rune throne axes, guys. Only Iron Man's for a Dagonite. Like, they should upgrade these, man. Javelins have uses actually with the ballista, but rune throne axes, like, they even have a special attack, bro. But one use for them. That's it.
99 ranged come here
On one build.
for the cape.
Actually, any build with the for that spot. But hey, at least there is a use for them.
But outside of these three things, there's practically nothing of note that can't be found somewhere else more convenient. The guild itself was released on January 21st all the way back in 2004, just 17 days after RuneScape 2 itself released, making it one of the earliest pieces of RuneScape 2 content that wasn't simply moved over from RuneScape Classic. Back in the early days of RuneScape 2, from 2004 up until the change of the death mechanics on December 10th, 2007, the guild had much darker activities tied to it, which we'll get to
Darker activities, man.
after some baseline information and brief history on the guild itself. People typically come here to buy the range cape.
Look at that. That's such a depressing shot, bro. Like, you can get studded. It's a range guild, man. But not, they wanted players to make the green dragonhide, so that's why.
Upon reaching level 99, and then they peace out, usually forever until they get a clue step that involves searching the haystacks in the guild or some of the other ones in the guild. I think there's like
usually forever
2 or 3 clue steps. Notable features of the guild include a shop that sells arrows, arrow tips, and some lower level bows. Next to that, we have a shop that has some assorted low-level ranged armor in the form of leather and studded armors. This is the same shop that sells the 99 range cape, by the way, provided the player has 99 in the skill. Speaking of skill capes, the fletching one used to be sold here as well, but this was changed and moved to Catherine.
Yeah, if you need 40 range, you can't enter the range guild, so a skiller would be unable to access this place and get their cape.
I believe at the NPC Hickton that runs the fletching shop. This is due to some players having 99 fletching but not having the 40 ranged requirements to enter the guild. Think of accounts such as level 3 skillers and ones like that. Side note, there's also a leather shield NPC that just has some pretty basic info on the dragonhide shields. He was added on February 1st, 2018 alongside...
Bro, they actually put a gilded, like, shield. I'm not sure if that we can even get that shield, but they put a gilded shield right there. The gilded freaking leather shield.
They're d'hide shields and basic d'hide shields. All he does is provide a flyer with info that can be found in the respective skill guides anyways. Fairly pointless NPC, but I guess they did it to add a little bit of life to the empty guild. There's also a leather tanner similar to the ones found in other areas that can tan your cowhide, snakeskin, or dragonhide. Although this one is very far away from any bank, as there's no bank chest inside the ranging guild. I'm sure maybe a handful of players have ever used this NPC.
I know, right? I didn't even know the NPC was there, guys. Anybody use a leather tanner inside ranging guild?
Additionally, a tribesman can be found selling throne axes bronze to rune, along with some very overpriced javelins. The only use of this shop...
Hey, at least dragon... Oh yeah, you know what? Dragon throne axes have a use. Only a dragon throne axes, so.
Is that Iron Men can utilize the shop for rune throne axes to help them get to Dag Kings. The javelins and axes for main accounts found here are fairly useless, as they can simply be bought from the Grand Exchange for much cheaper. There's another shop,
and no one really uses those either. Maybe rune javelins for like a ballista, but that's super low tier content, man. They should make it like a free to play.
Across from the first 2 vendors, which
imagine they make like all of Catherby like area and like agility courses free to play. That'd be Pretty cool.
which only takes Ranging Guild archery tickets as payment and offers some very, very subpar rewards. Barbed bolt tips, adamant javelins.
Oh, we do get a green d'hide. Not bad, not bad. But no, look, what is those were... Okay, the 50 rune arrows. That's about it. That's all you can really buy.
Green d'hide body, rune arrows,
Yeah, only the one in Alcarid is what they use.
and other junk. For the most part, this is really bad even for 2004 standards, except the rune arrows. The rune arrows at one point in very early RuneScape 2 weren't a horrible reward, as they used to be between 300 and 400 GP apiece at one
They were meta for so long. Like, actually so long.
point. I just figured out
Like 10 years.
I'll put that little fact in here, as I know I'm going to get a comment about how some random guy and his two cousins, Jim Bob and Skeeter, have come here every Sunday for the past 10 years to farm rune arrows, and so therefore the guild isn't dead content, and I'm a stupid idiot. But the guild's pretty damn dead. Anyways, a player can earn these archery tickets by playing one of two minigames within the Ranging Guild, that being the target practice game. The other minigame offers no rewards even to this day. I checked, at least on old school. And I'd bet a
But yeah, if you go upstairs, they're super aggressive at that spot, man.
small percentage of players have
I never tried luring though, so
never even played this minigame outside of the diary requirement on RuneScape 3. On old school, I believe the only diary requirement involving the Ranging Guild is to enter it, so even less players on that version of the game have touched it. The first is a target practice minigame, which can be accessed after paying the nearby NPC 200 GP for 10 shots. It's based on a player's ranged accuracy and I believe their level as well. Scoring a bullseye grants experience equivalent to hitting a 12.5, giving 50 flat ranged experience.
not bad. You can actually make it like kind of quick XP with a bot.
Needless to say, at
But nobody wants to do
40
that.
range,
Like,
right around those levels,
there's so
hitting a
many
12
better training methods, man.
in combat is fairly uncommon with most early setups, making this minigame not too bad for early range training if you can handle it without getting super bored. It also gives this experience without granting hit points XP, giving it a sort of niche use for certain account builds. It sits at right around 50k experience per hour with full attention and maximum effort, which is fairly bad when compared to early chinning methods and some cannon methods, but otherwise it's pretty damn
So he's like flicking the run. He's flicking the run orb.
good XP for early range levels. The first dark part of the video, if you want to call it that,
And remember quick chat, they should totally add that back in the game.
involves the first minigame. I think it's more of a funny piece of RuneScape history though. Anyways, due to the decent ranged XP and relative safety of the area, many of the more shady characters in the RuneScape community wrote botting scripts that would perform the simple minigame over and over again, giving their owner massive amounts of XP and archery tickets. Side note, a lot of the footage used here is from
It doesn't show how much gold per hour they're making though, and like profit
2010 and beyond, as
or tickets per hour even.
early footage of this type of stuff is hard to come by. Gravestones were very much in place, but many of the botters just rushed to the Ranging Guild without purchasing the higher tier gravestones. This meant most bots had the default wooden grave that only lasted a minute or two, and after it collapsed, the loot was available to everyone around. Regular players, noticing the large amount of player characters standing in the exact same spot all doing the minigame, became suspicious and began trying to mess with the botters. Messing with the botters at the time was a fun activity for bored or curious RuneScapers. Eventually, players
Yeah, and it even abides by the rules. They allow it. They allow it.
figured out that the bots simply left-clicked the competition judge based on its appearance. Right around the area, there were, and still are, level 37 archers that hit pretty damn good for
I
their
wonder what's the most amount of GP that's been lured at this spot.
level. These archers happen to have the same exact appearance as the competition judge. If you're familiar with the early days of messing with bots, then you probably see where I'm going with this. The players would attack multiple archers and then lure them into the shooting minigame area. After that, they would simply wait. One of the botters would inevitably left-click on the level 37 archer and begin combat with it. Some of the bots I witnessed in old footage just
That's how high alchemy used to look back in the day, right there. Dude is
spam clicked the targets, and I also saw people trying to lure the archers in front of the shooting targets. I'm assuming this was to try and get them to spam click attack an archer instead of the shooting target if their camera happened to be angled down a bit lower. So I couldn't really tell if they went off of appearance of the competition judge or just simply clicked the damn target. Regardless of if it was the competition judge and archer looking similar or simply their camera being angled down.
Bro just died right
while
there.
They spam click.
Death animation is different, everything, man.
Result
That was a huge revamp when they like improve the graphics here.
In that to misclick on the archer, the result was the same. They would get attacked. Typically, a botter with 40 ranged or higher could dispatch a level 37 archer with little issue outside of some low HP accounts. The catch was that many of the botters didn't bring their own ammo due to the game's nature. This was due to the minigame requiring a 200 GP entry fee for 10 shots at the targets. Upon paying the 200 GP, the player gets 10 bronze arrows for use within the game. Outside bows that were able to fire bronze arrows could be brought in, such as dark bows, but any outside ammo above bronze could not be used. Even if the botter had brought their own additional bronze arrows to fight the archers, they could have been whittled down to 0 HP eventually through the luring of multiple archers, as most of these simple bots didn't eat at this time.
Level 37, man. They'd all have to be pures, basically. Or bots, in order to die here.
Or run away. This led to many botters being killed for millions of GP and tons of archery tickets. The other minigame involved the player
This is a place that interested me, because it's multi-combat up there, man. So you get multiple archers on you.
equipping a long-range
If you step out of that area, man, it was interesting for sure.
bow and fighting different groups of archers depending on the difficulty selected. However, even without intentionally participating in the minigame, if a player even went up the ladder and into the archer's attack range, they will attack the player and pile them, which is part of where
3 of them
the
on
title
you,
and
man.
thumbnail of this video come in. The archers themselves hit pretty damn accurately and fairly hard for their level, with the highest tier one on the west tower, I believe, in the green D-hide hitting a max hit of 16, and there's 3 of them. If you played RuneScape for any decent amount of time, you can probably see where this is going. Malicious players looking to make
Yeah, I didn't hear much about this lure, though.
easy RuneScape
I never tried it, but I was like, dang, bro, this is pretty interesting.
GP would convince a low-level player to come to the guild with a stack of gold and then coerce them up the ladder, usually with the promise of a hefty stack of coins if they can successfully kill an archer. I saw one very funny-ass comment about the lures saying, "Don't bring food up the ladder, there are crows that will attack you and take your food."
I would not believe that, man, but it's kind of like that one spot in the Canifis, that graveyard, or what was it called, where they just take your, they destroy your food.
It sounds
But that's a silly kind of excuse, man.
goofy as hell,
There's no, like, he's not saying there's no benefit if you don't bring food.
but I could totally see a talker for a luring group saying that and a noob actually believing it. The naive noob goes up the ladder, attacks an
He's saying there's no benefit, like, you could just bring food and not let him know, basically.
archer
And there's no, he didn't say there's no, like, penalty for it. I mean, the crows will eat it, but
and then gets
that's
piled by
about it, right? You know?
all of the archers in range.
They might not eat all the food at once.
And inevitably dies due to the archer's accuracy, their own low HP, and their lack of food. Can't bring it. The crows get pretty vicious over the damn food. I was unable to actually find footage of this lure, but it did exist. I'll post some comments and explanations of the lure from back then. Due to the old death mechanics, the lurer would end up getting their items and making off with whatever they didn't keep on death. I'm sure there were other small variations and tweaks of this lure, but that's a decent example of how it worked. Millions were lost, and I'm sure many naive players were upset, but that was part of every early RuneScape.
It just sucks there's no footage of this, man. No footage whatsoever, bro, of actually luring anyone at this spot. It's kind of like, dude, none at all.
Players
The RuneScape historian couldn't even find any.
experience at least once or twice. This lure died sometime after December 10th, 2007 when gravestones were introduced, although I'm sure people still tried it on noobs that had the lowest tier default 1 or 2 minute wooden grave, as you could very much still get a player's loot if their
You know, picking up a nice rune plate body off the floor, you know that's gonna be profit.
gravestone collapsed up to a few years after this update. Nowadays, there's a warning when attempting to climb the ladder, warning the player of the aggressive archers above.
I'll be okay. They can't hurt me. That's one of the options.
The Ranging Guild currently sits empty on both old school RuneScape and RuneScape 3 on most worlds, with the exception of a person here or there playing the target minigame. If you want more RuneScape history, you can check out one of the videos on screen. But that's about all I have for you.
Not bad, not bad. Yeah, I reacted to this video before, but hey, I had to reshoot it. It was still entertaining to watch the second time. Much appreciated. Check out RuneScape Historian in the description. I'll see you guys next video. Peace out.